Rob is good.
Greetings and salutations, spoons and forks. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey!
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and today we are doing what most major internet publications do.
We're stealing content from Reddit.
Which isn't really stealing because we are on Reddit. So technically, these AskReddit posts that we're harvesting are broadly directed toward us.
We're answering the questions the people of Reddit have decided to ask us specifically. Yeah. This is an AMA.
They chose some very weird general questions, I must say.
Yeah.
This is a new idea that the boy had.
So it might be tropes roulette. Strap in, folks. This might be garbage.
We all have bad ones now and then. What was that one I suggested? Oh, the Two Nerds Podcast.
Hey!
Wait, that was your idea,
yes,
too.
Yes, it was. All right, so what we're doing is we're taking the top Ask Reddit posts of all time, reading the questions, talking about them until we're bored of them, moving on. And if we decide to do this again, we'll do it once every so long and farm up once they've had time to make more things for us to, talk about.
Yeah, we probably won't always do all time. It might be, within the last month or week instead. But I figured all time was a good place to start.
Just clear out the backlog of the best. So we're going to be skipping some because some are just Reddit ephemera that aren't useful, that don't make fun conversation. And some aren't the Two Nerds Podcast vibe. But the second question there I think is a good place to start, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's also my answer.
Yep. Would you watch a show where a...
Was that your fake Chandler laugh?
Yes, it was. I've been at work all day. The fake Chandler laugh is locked and loaded and ready to go. All right?
Oh, God.
This is already a good podcast. Quality content.
Would you watch a show where a billionaire CEO has to go on an entire month with their lowest paid employee's salary without access to any other resources than that of the employee? What do you think would happen? Yes, I'd watch that. I think that would be great. Schadenfreude porn.
I would watch it, but I don't think it would happen. Because I think most CEOs would go, no.
That's a great way to make me look like an out-of-touch jackass and ruin the PO and cost me all of my money.
No, see, actually, what it would do, the risk you take going on there is the same thing as undercover boss. You do the thing, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to give these employees raises. We're going to raise the minimum wage in the store or company or whatever by 1 cent. Just like dumb PR shit. That's all it ever was. But, God, was it an entire month? I can't see most CEOs.
No, there are a couple who did sort of come up from much lower. I think they'd be willing to do it, but I think they're all the billionaire CEOs that exist currently are acutely aware of what the PR they would get from that is.
Yeah, this isn't 10 years ago when...
Undercover boss wouldn't fly now.
No.
Undercover boss would get a guillotine rolled up to your house now. So, I'd love to watch it, but I do think it would have to be that they have been imprisoned Running Man style and are being forced to do this. I would still watch that.
Second option. CEO Running Man.
Well, if we're putting that on the table...
What else do we have here? That's not an ask.
No,
it's just depressing.
Sometimes they do that.
What the fuck?
I know. So the next one was, what if God came down one day and said, it's pronounced Jawed, and then left?
I would like for this person to substantiate their proof, and, oh, they're gone.
Yeah, bullshit.
So some jackass came down and said it's pronounced Jod, and I went, what's pronounced Jod?
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a post that's been around the internet that I fully agree with. God and all his angels could come down from heaven, look me dead in the eye, and go, it's pronounced Jif. And I would say, I'll keep that in mind, Jod, and then walk off. No, it's not. It's GIF. I know that's what this is about. However, on a slightly more serious note, I now have proof God exists. So I'm going to need to make some changes in my lifestyle.
I detached entirely from this conversation, and I was like, what the fuck? Where did you get proof God exists?
But now that you had that moment of genuine, like, uh-oh, is it true? I'll need to make some changes. Which God was it? Is it like...
They're already gone.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have proof that he's real, but not which rule book he wants me to follow, and my anxiety goes through the roof.
Basically, I mean, there's two things about this. One, first of all, we named you God, not the other way around.
I think he gets to decide. I
mean, that's fair. And if you give a shit, but it's not... This is a problem I have with Big G God and Android phones.
Whoa, okay, alright, I'm strapping in. Let's see where that overlaps.
My Android phone, historically, the entire time I've had it, autocorrects lowercase g God to Big G God.
Yeah. Big G.
No matter how many times I tell it, do not remember this word exists.
It is a good Christian phone and you can't stop it.
I guess. And even when I'm talking about Zeus...
Zeus.
Or a fictional pantheon in Dungeons and Dragons, it's like, I'm pretty sure he means Big G God. No, I do not. Secondly,
I wonder how many times you would have to do that with other names. Like if I forcibly corrected like the name Mitchell, and had like lowercased it every time.
That's the thing that drives me nuts, because it doesn't take long for literally anything else. There are two things my phone remembers that I do not want it to remember, and I don't know why it does. One is Big G God, and I do not type Big G God. I just don't. Two is the st, which is the typo I always do for that.
Which it loves, and immediately replaces with that, so that if you start typing that, and you type it right, it will correct it to this.
Sometimes it does, yes.
I hate that, and it happens to mine as well. I haven't had this problem. I think it's just that I don't even talk about Zeus that much.
Well, or even in colloquial phrases like, oh my God. I have people of more sensitive Christian tastes who would rather I not...
Capitalize that.
In the broader sense, yeah. So I try not to, because that's not who I'm talking about anyway.
Yeah, it's not. So I think, look, I would ultimately take the I'm not emotionally attached to God like I am GIF, which is sad. Or is it? No, I think it's happy.
No, I mean, because GIF makes sense because it's graphical user interface. Or interface format.
Look, guys.
Image format.
I know.
I was looking at GUI.
Nerds, we all know. Calm down. It's GIF. No, don't fight me because you won't win because my stance is not based in logic. My stance is based in it's GIF. Shut the hell up.
My stance is entirely based in logic, and I don't care what the original guy said. He's an idiot.
He's a computer programmer
going, I love these graphics. I love the TurboGrafx 16. It's the best fucking machine. And these giraffes over here, fantastic animal.
He's a computer programmer, not a linguist. It's GIF. I have a logical position. It's just that I don't care what your counter evidence. I don't. But I would take this correction. It's just what comes after that I'm concerned about.
Well, but you can't figure anything out. It is this puff of it's jawed. Someone in robes, assumedly with a beard, appears and says that.
I have to assume like either big Zeus-like dude with like big curly beard and some robes and like tablets maybe.
Big Rip Torn voice.
Yeah, Rip Torn voice, or like maybe like a Morgan Freeman, or like or a James Earl Jones, like like Bello, corrects that, or Alanis Morissette. In which case, my head explodes and my problems are over.
Regardless, you're not around long enough. You are just as likely to be some sort of technological thing,
or a hallucination I'm having,
or a hologram, like most celebrities.
Most celebrities are holograms. Co-signed, the Two Nerds Podcast. I think we can move on, because we're not going to get better than most celebrities are holograms.
Fuck it, sure.
I think next up is Anthony Bourdain once said, "There's a guy in my head, and all he wants to do is lay in bed all day long, smoke pot, and watch old movies and cartoons. My life is a series of stratagems to avoid and outwit that guy. Who is that guy for you, and what do you do to avoid him?"
That guy for me is a cartoon rendition of John Total Biscuit Bain wearing a top hat. with two fistfuls of money going, ha ha, capitalism. And to avoid outwit and strategize against him, I sit around all day watching cartoons and playing video games.
That guy for me is a goblin. A little goblin man, a horrible little goblin man who sits on a big pile of all his money and never spends any of it, and then anytime something comes up that would make him spend any of it, goes, "Rah!" and then gathers it all up in a smaller pile so that he can protect it better. What I do to avoid outwit and strategize against him is spend my money, because I earned it and I get to. I'm a grown-up goblin man.
Yeah, Anthony Bourdain, it sounds like maybe you needed to relax some.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, he did ultimately avoid that guy.
I guess. Just, I don't know, he might be your friend. Have you thought about maybe talking to him?
Have you thought about maybe chilling out and smoking some pot and watching some old cartoons? It might make you happier.
Yeah, Jesus.
Bill Gates said, "I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job because a lazy person will find the easy way to do it." What's a real-life example of this?
My life. I'm not lazy. I just am like... See, there's a witticism I came up with or borrowed from somebody I can't remember in my teens, which is the definition of laziness is finding the most complicated way to do something that is unnecessary, that requires something like you don't get up. For example, it is much more efficient when your alarm is going off to stand up, turn it off. Even if you just lay down and go back to sleep, it is more efficient. But when you are awake in bed and you're lazy and you don't wanna, you will pick up items to snag your phone or your alarm or whatever, cradling. This takes minutes of time while your alarm is blaring to shut it off without getting up.
If you get out of the bed, that means you lose.
Sure, I understand. Look, I'm not arguing against the lazy person, but like, to me, that is more laziness than doing nothing or finding a clever way to get through something.
I have a personal example of this. I don't work for this company anymore, so I can tell this story. They didn't know it, but I worked for a company for a couple years where they had given me a very complex job that the previous person had to work overtime and do more than 40 hours every week to do, because that guy didn't understand Excel. It took me 20 minutes a day to do my whole job, and I spent the rest of the time on Reddit. Haha! If anyone's listening from that job, I'm not sorry. You suck. So
You can't take the money back. John Bain said so.
I learned how to use Excel macros and like a light amount of programming just to automate 80% of my job. And then I did it and didn't tell anyone.
I mean, that's more or less the best example. And it's how I tend to work as a person. Why do things the complicated way just because it's the way we've always done it? When, innovation born of, I don't want to do all of these stupid steps.
Could I have a computer do all of these stupid steps for me instead? And then, yes, turns out I could. I missed that job. It was the easiest job I've ever had. Stressful, though. Way more stressful than my current one. I love my current job. My current job is great. And I'm much more, prone to do what my actual job is for my current company, because they're not a shitty employer. But Yay. I don't normally talk about my day job on this podcast, so moving right along.
Sure.
Did you have other stuff you wanted to say about laziness? Maybe an example you could think of?
I don't. This is a job application question. No, thank you.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Let's see here. All right, this one's interesting. Without saying what the category is, what are your top 5?
So this is one of those posts that I feel like requires thought. That the format of an audio podcast that I don't edit does not supply very well. Because I could easily, start listing 5 video games, and you would know what they are by the fact that they are video games. Unless, of course, I was being a shit and was going top 5 worst video games. But, that's the joke, right?
Or, top 5 video games that I liked but wouldn't play again.
Sure. It's something that requires a bit of thinking.
I think it's also something that is best formatted when you have time to sit down, like you mentioned, do a little thought, and come up with a shitty asshole category to use.
I agree, yeah. Also, it takes me a while to think of my top 5 favorite anything. or least favorite anything?
You know what? Honestly, I think this one has worked for me so much because I don't really do that anymore.
I don't either, and I'd like to, because I don't. This is something I've been going through, listener, Ultimo Dragon, if you will. This is something I've been going through for like years now, where someone's like, "Oh man, hey, it's nice to meet you. You're into comic books, right? Who's your favorite superhero?" And I go, "I don't know. I don't know." It's hard to have conversations and like pick out a video game character, like fucking Marvel. Black Order, the Switch one came out, and a lot of the times I was playing it going, yeah, this is fun, but do I like this character? Am I having as much fun as I could have if I was like the boy over there who was playing Captain America? Like, yeah, I love Captain America. Yield to the shield, bitch!
For me, it's a bunch of mechanics, too. Captain America's almost always a tank, which I enjoy playing.
Sure. But, like, I can't even be like, yeah, I just like this character, so I'll just play them. Like, there's not that beautiful simplicity in, I enjoy this, so I will... engage with it.
And the funny thing is, there are podcasts on this channel, 8-hour podcast history, that are, what are your top blanks? Those, I wouldn't co-sign those today.
No. And we actually had to, even back then, do a rule of this is not set in stone.
And, like, I don't know that I'd have a good time or really be able to make a good version of those today, because I don't do that anymore. I just don't categorize and rank the shit I like that way. I think it has to do with getting older and just the pop culture and fictional things I like being a much smaller part of my personality.
Yeah. It's
my self-identity.
Yeah, it's less important with a capital I. It's less something to fight over.
Yeah, because, if I were to go through all the trouble of trying to decide what my favorite video game is, and someone said that video game sucks, my genuine reaction would be, okay. Like, I wouldn't be upset. Okay, whatever. I don't care if you like it.
I wouldn't be upset, but my reaction would be, you're wrong, but I understand that you're upset. My video game is unassailably good, so...
Well, remember what the goggles do?
Nothing, actually. Yeah.
It's okay.
Even better, it's using old Simpsons memes that came out after it. Fantastic.
Time travel memes.
Yeah, I like it.
That's good. This one we might have an answer for, we might not, but it's an interesting question. What free things online should everyone take advantage of?
Torrenting websites.
Those aren't free. That is not an official representation of the opinion of the Two Nerds podcast. Also, he's right though.
Actually, I don't even use torrents that much.
Me neither. I haven't in years. Look, RIAA, you're sitting in the room with Ultimo Dragon, and all the other various people in the industry of
Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah,
he is the RIAA.
That's fair. That's
and
fair.
The BPI and
all those guys. So you did it. I don't pirate things. I don't pirate anything anymore because you made it easier for me to stream it legally. You just did. You made it much easier for me to pay you $5, $10 or whatever and have a big bunch of shit. The more streaming services you assholes come out with that I have to pay for separately, the higher percentage chance goes that I go dust off my fucking Jolly Roger. So keep that shit in mind.
I think as long as, one has the option to alternate, it's not bad. No. And, of course, they don't want you to. They want you to stay a loyal customer. So they're like, get 72 months of this for this price.
For you to watch one movie. Yeah. That's not going to fucking happen. I will pay for, at most, 2 streaming services at the same time and just bounce around. Y'all fuckers start bundling, and I'm dusting off the skull and crossbones.
Pretty much. And there's also nothing that I'm that attached to have to, I'm an adult now. I have a disposable income. I am not a college student, or not that I ever was, or a high school student, or an unemployed jackass, technically.
And, for other things, like music. If I like music, I will listen to it on Spotify.
Exactly. I want to support the artist in some way.
Or, if it's not on Spotify, I'll just buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
I have money.
Yeah.
I want to give money to people who make things because then they get to live and thus make more things and I get more things.
It's part of why I don't kick myself more over my unplayable in my lifetime collection of video games because I supported the artists who made them. Now they can make more video games.
Which I will buy and not play.
Yeah.
I
buy them at ridiculously discounted rates.
I mean, same. But I do, in fact, own thousands of video games that I will never play. but I get to spend my money, like we talked about earlier. But a genuine answer for this is there is so much shit you can learn to do on YouTube.
Oh, God, yeah. There's no longer... I don't need to call my dad for shit anymore unless I need specific tools or his strength.
Yeah, like, if I need a voltometer, we might need to call your dad.
But technically, that's just because it's easier than going to buy a voltometer. If for some reason, if I called my dad and he was like, I ain't got one, we just go buy one.
I just go buy one.
Yeah.
Or I'd order it off Amazon or whatever. I've fixed so much stuff and repaired so much stuff and fixed my computer so many times just off YouTube. Literally just YouTube. There are so many things you can learn on this stupid website. I like this. We've come up with a method. This is the first time we're doing this, and we're just sort of working out how we're going to do it. I like what we're going with, where White will, as I'm vamping here, quietly scroll down to the next question he gives a shit about and leave it up at the top so I read it.
It wasn't give a shit about.
Oh, fair enough.
They were all depressingly political or current year questions.
Gross. No. Those are not our vibe. This is our vibe. You want to hear our vibe? Steve Irwin has you pinned in a headlock. What cool facts does he tell the audience about you and your habitat?
You know, here's the funny thing. I actually never watched much Crocodile Hunter.
Really? That's very sad.
No. I just support his work. Well, support it.
Well, it's more sad because it was a really fun program.
Yeah, I mean, like, I saw it when I was, like, at a dentist office or, you know, when my stepdad was watching it or whatever. But, like, I didn't sit down and watch it myself because it's just not really my kind of TV.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I can't, like, mimic exactly what he supplies about the croc or whatever it is.
I won't. In respect for the man, not because of my Australian accent isn't much like his, and thus I would feel bad. That's not the reason, definitely. But what he would probably say is he would probably go on a little sort of story about the average day, you know, what he does, and you want to watch at this time of day because he's going after his food, and if you get in between him and his food, oh, then you're in trouble.
I can affirm this.
Yeah, when I come downstairs from my day job, because I work from home now, which is great. I never want to stop. When I come downstairs for dinner after work, that is what I want to be doing, is making and eating my food. Things that get in between me and that are enemies.
I guess I'm like a trapdoor spider that only very rarely leaves its trapdoor area.
Like you have a little nest that you've made that is a safe, you know, secure place, and you just sort of like peek out from it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just like the meme answer. What facts about me? I eat too much spicy food. I don't know what the fuck.
I eat too much spicy food. I don't know what.
I mean, his fingers in my cloaca, so I have to imagine that's what he's finding out.
Oh, he's got a rough diet. He does. Oh. This one's a little deep. No thanks.
I didn't know we were done with it yet, so I wasn't scrolling. Yeah, I can just answer this real quick. How would you feel about a law that requires people over the age of 70 to pass a specialized driving test in order to continue driving? I would feel like it needs to be 60.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's 1,000 pounds of metal. You gotta prove to society that you're qualified to make it not crash into stuff.
No.
Sorry.
And I think a specialized driving test is the best way to do that, because I know plenty of people over the age of 60 who are perfectly safe drivers, perfectly capable of handling themselves, and I know plenty of people over the age of 60 who are fucking not.
Like, I know people, there are people over the age of 70, 80 that drive perfectly well, that are healthier and happier and better drivers than me, I bet. You'd pass the test. There'd be no problem. When I am that old, if I fail the test and can't drive anymore, I will be happy, because that means that I am not endangering those around me. This next one?
I think so. I have a.
You have a good answer? You have a good
answer?
answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you go first.
What life-changing item can you buy for less than $100?
Dark Souls 3.
He's not wrong. If you commit to it.
Yeah, you have to actually play the fucking game. And Dark Souls 1 for that matter. Not Dark Souls 2. It would change your life, but not for the better. Look, I enjoyed what I did with the game, but like, it's not for everyone. And I wouldn't... Dark Souls isn't for everyone, but it changed my life. It's the secret of video games.
If you beat the game, you will understand it. You can't beat it until you understand it. That's a really good answer. I think there's probably something like more mundane.
Sure. Well, I mean, what the fuck? Video games are mundane. What are they? Special fruit that only grow from the Magnanian tree?
Well, no, it's you consider Dark Souls life-changing because it like affects your outlook on life.
Sure.
And teaches you stuff about perseverance and the will to continue on and jolly cooperation and the importance of resting when necessary and all that shit. But my brain more went to like, there's like a little thing.
Like a tire gauge?
Like something that is a very small little like physical item that makes your life a lot simpler and easier and happier. And I can't think of anything at the moment, so I'm just going to steal your answer and move on.
I feel like that's like probably the idea, but not just me. So many people I've seen have said that Dark Souls as a game, once they actually got through it, helped them either come to terms with depression, have a more positive outlook. Like if it was just me, I would not assume this sort of response is normal. But I mean,
it's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's been a lot of folks.
I think we're scrolling through depressing questions.
Well, and some are just kind of obtuse. Like we actually, that one came up earlier. How about that? Oops. I think that was a joke about something that came out. This is the most entertaining part of this process and why I should be constantly scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That's interesting. I don't know that we would have very good answers for it. But for the sake of the audience, maybe going to Reddit and checking out these threads, a new dating app is launched. Instead of a photo of the person, it shows you a photo of their bedroom, car, kitchen, shoes, how they have their tea or coffee, things like that. What photo would tell you the most about someone, and would you be more interested to see to choose? What would you be most interested to see to choose a potential date?
Do you have an answer for this? Because I sure don't.
No, I don't imagine you would.
Like, for general people-watching reasons, I might be interested to see the inside of people's, like... No, I want to see what your computer setup looks like.
So let's remove date from the thing. Let's.
I'm not interested in that.
Sure.
That's fair.
Let's... Potential friend. Because I'm also currently dating, so it's not like I'm like, I need to know what's good for the next one. You know, that's not the outcome we're looking for. I hope y'all enjoyed that voice. I don't know if I've done it on the podcast.
Y'all missing out in the face.
It was like Uncle Ruckus, basically. I vetted a friend not too long ago by browsing their Steam library.
Nice. That's. I feel like that's an answer that would have worked for me like years ago. Like
sure.
Their DVD rack back in the day would tell you a lot about a person. That doesn't exist anymore, and I don't really give too much of a shit about the video games a person likes.
Well, see, it goes beyond that. You know, it's not just do you have good patrician taste in games. It's what interests you, and then like the cognitive thought of why. When I see that amalgamation of data, I can form a pretty good profile on somebody. Because in fact, the most popular games they have, you probably don't want to pay much attention to.
No, you want to find like the weird, obscure shit.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, I get this about this person, and then like there's some follow-up questions to ask probably, because I know the person that I did this 2/4 was like, I got a bunch of this shit off of a Humble Bundle, so I have a bunch of games for no real reason.
Right.
But still, I feel like it provided insight. And I think it's a better conversation starter, which when I was on dating apps, because I did use Tinder to get into my current relationship, here's my fucking face. Cole, you cute? That's all. I don't really know much about you. Yeah, show me your CD collection, your, Spotify play history, which with us specifically kind of causes problems. Well, no, it doesn't, because it's still a conversation starter, because we've got all this weird atmospheric music, and they're like, you really into orchestral stuff? No, I run D&D.
I run D&D, and boy howdy is DMX telling, bursting into the room in the middle of your D&D session only for when he's appropriate. And there are times when he is.
There have been delightful times when he was wildly appropriate.
So, in terms of making a new friend, I think I'd like to see, and this would take more effort on their part, I think I'd like to see 10 memes that they think are really funny. Just show me your top 10, or, not top 10, just pick 10 memes that really make you bust a gut.
All right.
Show me your memes.
Let's go back.
And then we'll see. We'll see, motherfucker.
Let's go back to that top 5. Off the top of your head, what are 5 really good memes?
Like evergreen.
Sure.
Kind of beyond their context.
I mean, whatever gets your goat here.
I'd pick a really funny political compass meme.
Okay, that's fair.
They're very, it's just, I'd pick one of the real solid ones. Like one that is not too deep into the specific memes of that community.
Yeah. Yeah, because, after you go so far into it, because it is a community based around a meme.
It's an inside joke inside an inside joke inside an inside joke, and it's fucking unparsable.
Yeah. Red, blue, yellow, purple, lol, and then, you see that and go, red, blue does yellow, purple. And I'm like, I don't fucking...
I would probably pick... Yeah, now off the top of my head, I got nothing. This would have to be something I'd have to curate.
Something you want to sit down.
Something I would have to sit down and go like, what are the memes that are just absolute bangers at any time?
I know I forgot the name of the show and how to pronounce the name of the people in it. The Man Throwing Chair. Series from the motorcycle fixing show.
Orange County Choppers,
Is that the one?
Or West Coast Choppers. One of those two.
Worldwide Choppers.
Worldwide Choppers. The one with the guy with the mustache and his son. The meme that is them arguing. That one's good.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites all time. Just good shit.
But yeah, like that and a few others. Just show me your top memes.
Yeah.
And if at least one of them is both funny and spicy enough to be worth my time, then you might get an interview.
Yeah.
For friendship. I recently, just a couple years ago, got a really good, very close friend, basically just from that.
Sure.
We were talking, it was at work, and he made a joke that it was a meme, and I knew, based on what meme it was, that this one was good.
I think another good one is D&D characters. Show me your last few D&D characters.
You know what the weird thing is? And this is actually a different conversation. But yeah, there's not a time limit on the podcast.
No. I own the network.
What, I got no stroke? But that was a joke for like a very small percentage of people. So it was a while back.
That would be another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vince McMahon getting excited over something.
Yeah.
Quality meme.
Or him making his laser laser.
Yeah, that one's all right.
That one's all right. Not as good as excited.
I especially love excited Vince McMahon meme because people who are not in the wrestling community will then see him and go, "Oh, it's the man who gets really horny over the meme."
It's Laser Eyes Horny Man, which I heard him referred to as once. And it's beautiful. The D&D characters thing wouldn't work for me.
Yeah.
For the same, and this is, I think, connected to the fact that I have never managed to find people playing D&D on the internet, and you watch them play D&D thing, that doesn't not make me cringe into my own soul and leave.
I mean, isn't that telling, though?
It's just, I mean, yeah, that's the thing is, other people's D&D characters, I have negative 12 interest in. I do not give a shit. Unless you are part of my D&D group, I don't care. And I wish I did. I really genuinely wish that I gave more of a shit about other people's D&D characters. I want your D&D stories. Those are fun. I do not care about your characters in their base concept unless it's a concept that I end up wanting to steal.
I don't know, though. I think you can tell a lot about a person from that. You know? Or at least know that you don't want them in your D&D group. And if you don't want them in your D&D group, then do you want
I don't want to be friends with them.
Here you go.
I don't want any friends I don't want in my D&D group. If there's someone I know who I wouldn't play role-playing games with, I don't want you around.
Yeah, so if you go through their shit and one of them is a Driss clone, you can make a call there. You can go...
You know what? That's fair. It's not as... my brain was thinking it more as like entertainment. But you're right. That is an excellent way to tell some shit about.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you... When you can choose to be anything, what do you choose to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like the better version of power corrupts. Power doesn't corrupt. Power reveals. If you give someone the power to do it, whatever they actually wanted to do, you really quickly find out what that is. If you can be anything, what do you choose to be? That's actually a really good answer.
Thank you. I'm smart and fun.
Yes. I think we're done here.
Yeah, I think this is a good first version of this podcast.
Yeah. If it ends up being something that the listener, Ultimo, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, I forgot, actually, we were supposed to do a thing now. Rob, hello, my dear friend. You provided us money in the Patreon down below. And if other people do that, I will say your name.
And we won't be doing that thing that a lot of podcasts do where they wait till the very end and just sort of mention it offhand and then end the podcast. That's not a thing we would do.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
No, the joke was...
I just woke up. God damn.
The joke was right there.
Rob, you're so darling. Don't make me edit me going, the following podcast. We don't do that shit anymore. Fucking, let's get hardcore. Rob is good. Into the beginning of this fucking podcast.
I can't make you do anything. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.